The only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined as usual by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and we can't forget the demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
We have returned to the city of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the, as I like to call it, little city that could, because it has a big heart. But we are here, and this is an episode that was supposed to happen a while ago, but coming back from something we'll get into a little later
It was
on. Anticipated?
Yep.
Okay. There was some traffic involved, and this episode could not happen, but we are at GK Visual, which is a mighty fine production company in the city of Harrisburg. And we have two people that are with us to talk about some awesome Pennsylvania-centric beers, and we'll get into a project they're doing. But we have returning to the show,
Sarah Bozich.
and newcomer to the show,
Nate Kresge.
guys, thank you so much for having us out here.
Sure.
I'm
Happy
looking,
to have you.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This was very highly anticipated, as Steph alluded to.
Yes.
There's a lot that we got to go through, and I can't wait to get into it. I do have to point out, of course, for anyone listening out there in podcast land, that you can be part of the conversation with us. You can chime in, beerbusterspodcast.com. Go to the Twitter and the Instagrams at beerbusters. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/beerbusterspodcast. And don't forget that phone number that we have. It's 805-991-BEER. That is 805-991-2337. You can
Call
text.
me, baby.
You can leave a message. The phone's not going to ring because I wouldn't have done it Disturb. But to the topic at hand today, we have a beer that we're sipping on.
Sipping beer.
I didn't want to forget to mention it too. What are we drinking?
I don't know, Nate. What is this called?
I knew I was coming right back at you.
Please enlighten us.
So there's a little story here, and I'll jump right in with this. We were on a different shoot a couple weeks ago, traveling from Pittsburgh, traveling from Erie to Pittsburgh. Had 2 hours to kill in between, and I turned to my coworker and I said, listen, we're going to be driving right past Meadville. Why don't we swing in, see if we can stop in at Voodoo? And sure enough, the new facility is open, the compound, their bar is open, so we stopped in there, got some shots, and I sent Mateo a message.
He means video shots, not liquor
Oh,
shots.
good. Yeah, I'm talking.
We speak a different language.
Yeah.
It's always bad when you're saying you're going for a shot at a school or a church. Or
I got in
something
trouble
like
in college once because it was my turn to shoot the president.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's even worse when you tell somebody, hey, go get the shotgun mic for the shot. Yeah. So, anyway, I sent Mateo a message and said, hey, we're going to be swinging by. Any chance you're around? And didn't hear anything. So, coworker Sean and I had a beer or two. And all of a sudden, Mateo sends me a message and says, hey, when are you stopping by? And I said, well, we're here now. And he's like, great, come across the street, which if you're familiar with Voodoo in Meadville, they have their original, what's that called there? The tap room, or I'm not sure. Yeah. And then they have their production facility, which is new. He said, we're across the street canning, come on over. So we went over and got some great shots of canning for the film. And they were canning this beer, this Polish. I'm pausing here because I'm not sure how to
It's
pronounce
a lager, according to Untapped.
It's a Polish-style
lager.
I feel like there's a lot of delaying to get into what it's actually called, and I'm waiting with.
And I just saw Mateo today. I should have asked him how he
We've
pronounced
been mispronouncing beer names for 124 episodes.
That's
Sorry.
true.
Yeah, nothing phases us anymore.
Poznan Piwo?
Sounds good to me.
I think that's
works
I
for
like
me.
it.
Yeah.
All right.
What I'm really curious about is the accent over the N.
I know, right?
I've never
What's
seen
up
an
with that?
accent over a consonant. That's really strange. I'm not sure what to do
Maybe
with
it's
that.
Poznan.
I don't have any.
Which
Second
second
N.
end?
Yeah.
Poznan.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
There
to
you
me.
I think you got
We'll
it,
roll with
Dan.
So anyway, we got some shots, and he has been very generous to us and sent us home with stacks of beer, and that's what we're having.
Mateo's awesome.
He is
Such
He
a
really,
great guy.
Really is.
I like the beer. It's very light and crisp.
I wasn't
refreshing.
expecting that I would like it. I was a little afraid. You know, these
Why?
Euro lagers, I don't think there's many of them that are drinkable.
I'm happy
It's
with
quite
it.
nice. I think it's a good beer to start with. You know.
Yeah, something light.
Set the tone for the rest of the night, I suppose.
So before we get too much further in the
Yes.
show, we have mentioned a lot about shots and one mention of a shotgun. And I know we're going to talk about this a lot in a little bit.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I
we
think we
should
should just mention at the top that the reason we're here is because you guys have a really cool project going on.
Of course.
You, of course, did the Brewed in the Berg documentary, which is all about beer in Harrisburg, and now you've expanded to all of Pennsylvania and are doing poured in PA. So that's why you were getting shots at Voodoo and all these other places. Correct. Yes. Obviously, we'll get in that a lot more detail, but I thought we should mention it.
Yes, we should mention up top. You are absolutely
and we probably
right.
should mention
Why
that-
are we relevant?
Yeah, exactly.
What are these yahoos doing?
Why should you keep listening to this episode?
The company and the spot where we're recording is GK Visual, which is in Harrisburg, our wonderful state capital, and they're a video production company here in Harrisburg.
Man, I feel like somebody at the table already said that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I
It's okay.
wasn't
You don't
listening.
listen to me.
You
It's
can
fine.
keep repeating our name.
Yeah,
while we
GK
do
Visual.
all you
That
want.
is
At GK Visual.
Once again, that number is.
Yeah. Right.
All right, do some news.
Yes. Why don't we do some news? My, how the mighty have fallen. And by might, fallen-ish.
Fallen-ish.
Fallen-ish. So as of recording the episode, relatively breaking news is that AB InBev has laid off hundreds of employees in their high-end portfolio. And for anybody who may not be aware, the high-end portfolio encapsulates all of the craft brands that they had purchased. And now there's upwards of 400 people who do not have jobs. Sometime around 10 o'clock last night, which would have been Thursday the 7th, representatives for the high end, including district managers, started getting calendar invites for phone conferences with Budweiser Human Resources. And as of this morning on the 8th, the axe started to drop. So in a conference call with Alex Medicis, who is the vice president of sales for AB InBev North America, most of the employees working with the high end have been let go. And according to him, Anheuser-Busch is rethinking the business model surrounding the high end, centering more on efficiency. So cuts were made coast to coast. There is a sales rep they have, Mike Seabaugh. He explained basically that they're not going to focus on acquiring any more craft breweries.
Sorry,
Okay.
I tried to hold it in.
Well,
We'll wait and see.
but they did say that these layoffs are not people that work at the actual
Right.
breweries,
It's
right?
the sales reps who are handling them. I know a sales rep who deals with the high end, and I haven't gotten a chance to talk to her yet, but I really want to know if she was one of the 90% of people that got let go for this.
Wow.
I was wondering if it was ever going to happen, and here we are. You know, there's good sides and many bad sides to these breweries being bought, but now we have people who legitimately are out of jobs. And one of the big things that the craft beer industry likes to promote is how many jobs that they have. I mean, there's like 130,000 people that work in craft beer across the country. Now there's 400 less. So I kind
Well,
of...
can we consider them craft beer, though? Because they're not.
Well, you know what? I think it might have been more than craft. I think it was just beer in
beer,
general. Now
okay.
that I think about
Well,
it, yeah.
people losing jobs is always
Yeah.
an upsetting thing,
Of
no
course,
matter what.
Of course. It's just a shame to see it happen, especially so quickly after they acquired one, a month ago? 2 months ago? I forget who it was. But I remember we were just talking about it when we were at Camp Hill. Evergreen. Yeah, we were there. We had mentioned somebody getting bought up there. So here they are apparently not going to purchase any more craft breweries, which... I don't know if that's a victory for craft beer, if it's a blow to all of beer. I don't know.
Yeah.
What the take is from
I'm not
it.
sure how to take this, and I'm not. I'm. It surprised me. I'm
Yeah.
not sure
What gets me is, so if these sales reps were there, they probably were not brought on specifically to deal with the high end. Like my friend who was a rep was a Budweiser rep, a Bud Light rep, and then got
They're
promoted.
sort of transferred or
Yeah,
moved,
promoted
whatever.
into the high end, which was Stella and 10 Barrel and all the other ones that I'm sure we could name. But they were there before. Wicked Weed, of course. So they weren't brought on specifically for this. So these are probably layoffs that have happened to people who have been with AB InBev for quite some time.
Well, hopefully they'll take their expertise and come into the craft world.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
yeah. We can only hope so.
A lot of people forget about all the other jobs that the beer industry affects. So it's not just the brewery jobs, and here we are talking about sales jobs that are, tied right into everything that happens in the beer industry.
Yeah, I mean, because the business of making beer is a lot more than making beer. I mean, look at us. We're doing a podcast about it. You guys are making films about it. There's
Right,
people
yeah.
selling it. There's people, fixing the bathroom at the brewery or whatever. So it is a very large sector of the economy. Was there a lot of detail about like what actually led to this?
There's not a lot of detail.
No, there's really
period.
not. But the speculation from the inside from some of these sources is that they bought all these brands, they were going to expand, and then they didn't. And now there's no room for them. I do air quotes as if people can hear that.
We can hear the air quotes.
It's
in
like
your
they're
voice.
trimming the fat.
Well, I wonder if it's like sort of they did too much too fast.
Yeah.
Bit off more than they could chew, or if because the publicity of the buyouts that they've done.
I don't think they give a shit
as
about
sort
that.
of, but I wonder if it's. I know they don't give a shit what people are saying, but they will give a shit when it affects their sales.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean.
that's
I
true.
wonder if there has been a palpable backlash on the bottom line.
Well, if you look at it too, so not even necessarily the bottom line, but you have the rest of the craft beer industry that has spoken out against the acquisitions, including that the label changes that how many brewers are now adopting to have that
the
they are an independent
seal,
beer. Yeah. So it's a little more than that, and I didn't think it would happen so soon that they would let all these people go. And it's like you said, Sarah, it is unfortunate when anybody loses their job, especially widespread, but I don't know.
And sales reps, they work their freaking asses
They really
off.
do.
Yeah.
I mean, they are driving everywhere and working crazy hours, and it is not a job that I would want.
Oh, God,
And
no.
I have a lot of respect for people that do it and do it quite well.
Yeah.
And they typically don't even make a lot of money compared to the work that they do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like Sarah said, we'll take them here on the craft beer side.
Well, really, if they've been longtime Budweiser, employees, they probably have a breadth of skills and information that got them to that point that they could apply to the craft world, and we could really see the craft division continue to grow.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, perfect world,
Yeah.
just implant those.
And I
If brewers
did
have the
realistic
money
world.
to hire them, then
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was curious. A company like Budweiser, you assume they're probably able to compensate their reps pretty well compared to craft breweries that maybe don't quite have the money or the funds that Budweiser has or had. I don't know,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
The other nice thing is, if you're good at sales, you're good at sales.
Right. I was going to say, too, as a hypothetical, if you're a brewery owner that needs to hire a sales rep and you have somebody from maybe InBev, but you are staunchly independent, you proudly display that part on your label, do you hire the person from maybe InBev? But you're right.
Yeah.
No matter what, they're good at sales.
Right.
And if they can work for that kind of a brand, I mean, they could surely do wonders for yours.
Odds are they haven't maintained that loyalty to.
Well, yeah, not anymore.
That's true.
That's the only news story that I really had.
Oh,
I just thought it
nice.
was interesting, yeah. But I wanted to get into, because I know obviously we have a lot at play.
Sorry, that sounded really bad. I realized.
I know what you mean. We have a lot at hand, though, because
I'm
there's
excited.
probably so much that we could talk about for hours and hours
That's
about
a lot
Port
of
and
questions
PA.
that Steph has over there.
Well, it's all the stuff you sent me, and then I just added all the stuff Nate sent me. So we'll see.
Just a compilation of
We're going to
stories.
talk for hours.
Hours and hours and
Until Sarah falls asleep
Exactly.
and we need to get her an Uber home.
Yep.
I'm going to need a beer.
Yes, right.
If only we had those. I want to start off with asking about GK Visual itself. I mean, how long have you guys been around?
2005. So I started the company in a spare bedroom, and it's just me for a couple years, and then I brought on a partner, Doug Metz, and we are now a team of 5, and have a place here in Midtown Harrisburg. We're blocks from the Capitol. We do a lot of political work, the exciting world of political video. So there's a reason why we like to do these other projects
course.
and
Yeah.
kind of enjoy ourselves once in a while.
I've done a couple C-SPAN shoots way back in the day, and God, were they boring. Oh, good Lord, were they boring.
We do a mix. It's web videos, it's commercials. It's the nice thing about this line of business is every day is different for us. We've been in coal mines, we've been in helicopters, we've obviously been in breweries, and so that has kept the job interesting for all of us. And I think we all enjoy it. And there are probably days that we don't enjoy it as much as others, but we knew this was going to be a little bit of a slower year for us. So that's why we decided this would be a good year to tackle this film and see what we could do with it.
And Sarah, how did he pull you along? I mean, you do seem like the best option as a partner for this project, as you are the unofficial ambassador of Harrisburg, and you do know all things
Unofficial,
alcohol
official?
and unofficial, official. Yeah.
Well, as I think you guys know, but I've been a food and drink reader for, it's getting close to 2 decades, which scares the crap out of me. But the better part of 2 decades. So
You started when you were uber young.
Yes. Yes, that's how that happened. So I've had a lot of bar and restaurant contacts, largely in this area, but also throughout the state. But I've been freelancing. I started freelancing for Nate 5-6 years ago, probably.
I think so.
And I think I'm almost 2 years, as I like to call it, full part-time, like an official employee. But, what started Brood was we did a show together called What's on Tap, where we talked to people in this community about, what they were contributing, different it all depended. Some were business people, some were nonprofit leaders, artists, etc. And when we went to do Brewed, the thought was to do a What's on Tap with brewers for Harrisburg, for the first Harrisburg Beer Week. And then that quickly evolved. And we loved doing that project. And, between then and now, I've become the full part-timer, if that makes sense. So, we all love the beer industry. Even when we're on these other shoots, banking shoots, whatever, we're always, as producer, I've been told it's my job to find us food and drink.
We get in the van. I said, all right, Sarah, what brewery did you find for us?
I'm also the pickiest, so I think that probably helps. But we always were looking for a brewery to check out. We just really love the industry. So it was, I guess I was surprised actually when Nate's like, "Oh, we're really going to do this." I'm like, and I didn't know I wasn't pregnant yet. I think when we first decided to do it, and I was like, "Is this really going to happen?" It is a big project to take on, but it's been exciting, and I wouldn't have missed it. I'm very happy to be a part of it.
So, how long have you been working on Poured in PA?
We started in April. Now, like Sarah said, this has been an idea we've been throwing around for a while, so we kind of had an idea of what it should turn into be and what it should look like. But we started in April with shoots, right?
Yeah, I think in January was when Nate and I had
right.
the serious talk about, like, are we going to do this? And then in March, we launched the Indiegogo campaign. And then, as Nate said, in April, we started shooting. So.
Yeah. And so we've been on the road off and on since April. And we're going to pause with the on the road part of it here for a little bit.
After next week, then I'm going to have a baby, and then we'll have a few more.
A few more shoots, not more babies.
Not more
Right.
babies. Yeah.
A few more
Clarify
shoots.
that one.
Glad you clarified.
And she'll need a
Yes.
few shots.
Yeah.
I can finally drink more.
Yeah. So you said you have a team of 5 officially working for GK Visual. When you guys go out on these shoots, do you contract like others, or do you just kind of like...
You're looking at it. It
Yeah.
is definitely the 5 of us that are doing this whole
So
project.
a pretty small crew.
It is. And
Yeah.
when we're on the road, it's really 3 of us. So
Right.
that kind of gets juggled around with, what other projects we have going on. Sarah's been on every one because she's our interviewer and producer. And then often it's myself and another one of the guys, and we'll go out and there'll be 2 of us getting shots while Sarah's working on kind of getting things set up and figuring out there's even paperwork to be signed on all these
Yeah.
shoots. So it's fun. And then we'll hit the road for a week. For the most part, we started in Pittsburgh area.
Yes.
And then we've done weeks in Erie and Philly and help me out,
The Northeast.
and so we're on the road the whole week. We'll knock out 2 or 3 a day.
Yeah, we usually do between 8 and 10 on one of those trips and try to get as much in as possible.
Of course, yeah, you got to
Yeah.
pack it in. How many miles have you put on your cars?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
We haven't even
haven't logged that.
started. That's
I
gonna be a
think
whole
we
job
both
in
have
itself,
records of
figuring
it.
out
Yeah,
all the stats.
totally.
Yeah, definitely.
When we started this, Sarah
Definitely.
said, all right, I'm going to start keeping random stats, like how many Edison bulbs do we see in breweries, how many beards do we encounter.
How many sheets versus how many Wawas we stop at?
Oh.
It didn't
Speaking
happen.
of-
Medicine balls.
Yeah, speaking of.
Those would be fun little stats to put like post credits.
Yeah.
That
be a
would
lot
be
of
really
fun.
cool. That'd be a cool little featurette at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many beards?
Oh my God, cargo shorts,
Plaid
flannels,
shirts.
plaid shirts. Yep.
Yeah.
All of that.
If
So-
it were warmer, I'd be wearing cargo shorts, so I would fit all
Yeah.
3 of those categories right
All-
now. All right.
You are a brewer.
I'm in
all
the right
of my
industry.
shorts- all of my shorts are
You
cargo
clearly
shorts.
have not had any of the beers I've had hand in then.
Dan's made one beer by himself, and it was awful.
It was a Mr. Beer kit. It was
Yep.
terrible.
Yep.
But we talk a lot about the shoots. I'm curious to know, from like a story perspective, what is the angle that you're going for in this? Is this sort of just like a lot of interview style documentary? Is there like a through line story that you're going for, or is that something you're figuring out as you go?
Definitely a little bit figuring out as we go. We had some thoughts going into this about what we thought we wanted to, subjects we want to cover. And obviously, that revolves around some of the questions that I ask. But those have evolved over the year too. Some of the themes that we found have been some of the differences between breweries, and that's been very interesting to us. But it is very much a interview-driven documentary style. So I don't think that we've even narrowed down like exactly how this will all fit together.
Right, yeah.
But we really want the brewers and the other professionals we've talked to tell the story, themselves with their own words.
Nice. Yeah, that's like one of the coolest thing about like documentary style films is that a lot of times there isn't a story when you start,
Exactly
and then
right.
you end up finding something that you never expected. And with a subject like beer in Pennsylvania, there's certainly plenty of places to go and plenty of people to talk to and plenty of stories to find. So it's pretty exciting.
That happened with us with Brew in the Berg. We started that out thinking we were only going to talk to brewers, and we realized, hey, there's a lot more to this story. So we started talking to bar owners and beer drinkers and other people involved in the craft industry just here in Harrisburg, and ended up with a film instead of a short little
A web video.
Right.
Now,
yeah.
has it been the same? You mentioned and others for this project. Are you also interviewing people that are not brewers, other people in the industry?
Yeah, we done a couple reporters so far, writers, hop growers, maltsters. We're even talking about going and talking to a company that makes kegs. So
Oh,
we're trying
nice.
to
I
branch
wouldn't
out a
have
little
thought
bit.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting.
And not a lot of people realize this is all here in Pennsylvania.
That's cool.
Is there a number of how many breweries we actually have operating in Pennsylvania right now?
I think it changes every week.
And that's the thing, yeah.
Ask Siri.
Do we-
Well, we were out in Pittsburgh talking to Bob Batts about he's a reporter out there, and he says he gets, what was it, Sarah, every week or every month hears of another one opening up.
I think that what he said, I know we talked about as I used to be in the same thing where we were tracking down when I was a writer, when I wrote for the paper, finding that new brewery. And he said he always was ahead of the game. He always knew what was coming. And I used to too, but now you can't really keep up. Like there's no way to be on top of all of it. But the number I remember him giving was that I think he said something like 75 in a maybe 30-mile radius of Pittsburgh in the next year.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, that's
That's
crazy.
insane. There used to be less than that in the entire state.
Yeah.
There was a
Oh, yeah.
time that I was at every brewery in the state.
I was
of
going to bring
Pennsylvania.
that up.
And it was
I'm
not
glad you
that
did.
long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only a couple
really
years.
not that long
And
ago.
now I
Yeah.
don't. There were one or two breweries in that in your trailer that you showed us before we started recording, and I was like, I haven't even heard of them.
Yeah, there was a
And
couple
that's
in there. I
exciting
was
for
like,
me.
Oh, who is that? Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You
And
know,
that's the beauty, I think, of this film. Well, beauty and downside of this film. We are talking to people that haven't even started yet and people that are so well established. But by the time the film comes out, there's going to be a whole new wave of people that are just getting started, and the people that were just getting started in the film are going to be established, and
Yeah.
it's going to be a whole new landscape.
That's one of the big questions I wanted to ask you, because I've been meticulously following you guys because I love the little preview videos you post, or Sarah, you'll just check in wherever you guys are. How did you decide who to choose? That had to be difficult. Whoever said yes first.
some of that is that actually. So we had a wish list. We have partnered with the Brewers of Pennsylvania, so we're featuring member breweries. I don't feel that limits us at all. In fact, it helps us narrow it down a little bit. I mean, that still leaves us like 150 plus breweries to choose from or something. But we both had, we went through the lists and, based on our experiences, whether we knew of the place or what we'd heard, or, some are just well known, beyond that, obviously. And then it was reaching out to people. And so, if people could get back to us and fit us into, their schedule too. But we wanted to make sure that we had a good representation of large and small, of every nook of the state. So we're hoping not to, have any, big open space where there isn't, if we were to make a map of every brewery that we visit. And then of course there were musts. There are certain breweries that
Trogs, Victory, Yingling.
Exactly. That if we didn't mention this, it would be bunk. You know what I mean? It would,
Speaking of Yingling, I have to ask about.
I was waiting for this story to come
your
up.
two trips to Yingling.
2 trips.
we need more beer first.
we can do more beer first.
All right.
Sure, grab a beer and then
Sure.
you can tell the story.
All right. So now that we have this other beer, what's the story about Yingling?
Well, we went up to Yingling, and this was always kind of on our list. We definitely wanted to go up to Yingling. The history there, it's hard to avoid. And we went up not knowing what to expect. We've seen Dick Yingling. We've met Dick Yingling at Meeting of the Malts. And it's always been nice. Dick seems a little not happy to be at Meeting of the Malts every year. I think that's safe to say.
He always seems a little cranky.
But a good guy.
He's a good guy.
So we didn't know what to expect. We got up there. We had a great interview with him. He couldn't have been nicer to us. We interviewed one of his daughters. Had a great day. We got a tour of the brewery there. We went to the one in Pottsville. And I will say this. We got a fantastic tour of the facility, and including beers right off the line that weren't even sealed yet. And to this day, is the best Yingling I think I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
It was the best beer I've had while I've been pregnant.
Yeah, it was.
It was really hard for me to not finish the beer.
And it just reminded me, of when the first time you had a Yingling, it's been a while for me to rediscover, what I liked about
very
Yingling.
nostalgic.
There you go. Perfect. So
Come on, get to the good part.
Well, we get back to the office, and the guy said, "Hey, did you happen to shoot on a different card in the camera when we did Dick's interview?" I said, "No."
Oh, no.
And they could not figure out where the footage was. Long story short, my camera never recorded his interview.
Oh, my God.
It said it was recording. I even have proof. I have a cell phone picture of my camera with the record sign on. Camera never recorded. So we are stuck. The one, the really big interview we were after, we do not have. So I called Sarah up and I said, explain the situation. I said, what do you think we should do? She's like, well, I guess we got to let them know.
Wow.
Yeah, so I called their Yingling's PR department, Jess, a girl who I should say a woman. She's the same age as me, but who had spent the day with us and was wonderful. And I have to say that her response was so friendly and lovely and relieving. Yeah. So we booked it in the next shoot for a week later that day. And you can go ahead and pick that up then.
we show back up, and I am definitely.
Did you show up with two cameras? Did you roll two the second time?
We always roll two,
we always
but only
roll
one
two
captures
cameras.
audio.
Yeah, and of course it was the camera that captures the audio, or we would have had something, but we didn't have anything.
You could have ADR'd Dick Yingling.
Yeah, with another voice. Yeah. We'll just dub that in with Sarah's voice.
That would have been hilarious.
Just put one of those voice changers over it. It would be fun.
Here's some outtakes for you.
So we show up, and I am very nervous. I am a little bit
I had no
sick to my
idea,
stomach.
actually.
Yeah, I've in 12 years of having this company, I've never had this happen to me. And of course, it's Dick Yingling's interview. We show up, and the big doors to the visitor center open up.
I just want to check real quick. Is the podcast recording?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, this reminds me of Flying Fish, when we had to pause and save everything. We were recording somewhere, and the computer just crashed, and we lost an hour of
So and you know that feeling. So that feeling in the pit of your stomach. You're like,
I'm right there with you.
What do we do?
Although tequila was involved, so
well. So the big doors open up, and it's Dick right there, and he looks at us and goes, "You guys look familiar."
Aw.
And he couldn't have been nicer. And I said, "Thank you so much for doing this." And he turns to me, he goes, "No, thank you for coming back."
Aw.
And I just right away eased me. My worries were all gone, and he just made sure we were comfortable, and probably gave us even better interview the second time.
Yeah, I think almost there was only one question I remember, you're not saying what you said last time. I really am trying to make you say it, and it didn't work. But all the rest of them probably, because he was a little bit more comfortable,
he was
too.
more
He
comfortable,
felt like he'd spent a whole day with us the week before. But he was really gracious about us even including him, which seems so silly to us.
He's
Dick
freaking Yingling.
He must have thanked us 100 times. Yeah. We've been trying to get in with Sam Adams as well.
I was going to ask if you were going for them.
I forget if it was that shoot or
no, it was the first one.
The first shoot. But
He's
just
like,
to give
hey,
you an
you're
idea,
talking to Jim? You got to do that.
You got to talk to Jim. And we're like, yeah, we've been trying to contact a few people. He's like, well, do you want Jim's phone number?
What?
Yeah, he and Jim, when at meeting of the malts, they're so cute. They're
They
like
are.
two buds that go back
That's awesome.
forever.
Yeah.
It's fun watching them.
We met Jim Cook, right?
Yes, I've
Okay,
met him
I
a
thought
couple
so.
times.
Yeah,
So did
he's-
you call Jim?
We did not, but we are in touch with the people at
Yeah.
Sam Adams, and I think that might happen.
And we didn't feel comfortable taking his phone number, but and he actually, to be honest, I don't think Dick had it on him at the time, or else he probably just would have been like here. But
Wait,
he,
I'll call him for you.
You don't know me,
Right.
but Dick Yingling gave me your phone number.
right? But he did like ask, his PR team to contact there. Like he set that in motion for us again, which was helpful.
That's cool.
So,
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
That's
And,
awesome.
and at the end of the thing, he had offered to sell the film in their visitors store. They sent us home with more swag on the second shoot. I mean, it was just, I was blown away by the generosity and just how much Dick Yingling wants to see beer in Pennsylvania succeed.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So speaking of other great PA breweries, we're drinking something out of a bottle with a white label. Should we talk about what we're drinking?
Sure, we were down at Yards and shot with Yards, and Tom comes out with a case of beer, and it's in their Saison labeling on the box, but the bottles inside are white labels with nothing on it. And actually, Sarah, he explained to you a little bit more what this was.
He described it as their Laurel Lager, something new that they were trying out, but they never got the. They didn't have the labeling approved, so they couldn't sell the beer. So they were, basically sharing this with employees. And I think he said it was like the employee case for the week for a while or something. And I think this is something they are planning to, introduce and package regularly. But for this season, it is in white labels.
And the white labels, I guess, are even new labels that they're testing out. So that's even a test in itself.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Oh, interesting.
So how fun was it to interview Tom Kehoe? He's quite the personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. He was a lot of fun. Also, there's so many great people in this industry and super generous. And yeah, Tom hung out with us. We checked out their new place. It's still in progress, but that should be pretty fantastic when it's completed.
I think it's going to double their size.
Oh, I
easily.
bet.
I like all these lagers. We have a trend. Do you have any more lagers in that fridge of yours?
I'm sure there is. It's kind of a little stash that we've been putting away from these different trips.
I love it. This one is a little more herbal. I'm really digging
It
it.
is.
Although I do want to mention, because I thought it was Laurel, like thinking Pennsylvania Laurel,
Yeah, that's what I
Mountain
thought too.
Laurel, but it's Loral. So did you get any insight as to
I did not.
what that is?
I believe that's a hop variety that they're
Yeah?
hopping.
That sounds
Yeah,
good.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
It is. I believe it is a hop.
Quite tasty. It's delicious.
We got
Even
two
my
cases
husband
of it,
likes
so
it.
if you want any more.
Wow.
It is funny when we're on these shoots and the van's loaded down with all the gear, and by the end of the week, there's stacks of beer on top of the gear, trying to figure out how we're getting it all
You need to
home.
put like a clamshell on top of the car.
We have
We
that
have
too,
that.
and that ends up being filled.
That's totally fair too. So you need like the little U-Haul trailer to attach.
We talked
to
about it
next.
when we went to North Country. They loaded us up with so much beer, and it was like this. I don't know, day 2 of that week. We're like, oh man, we really are going to have to rent a U-Haul or something and bring this stuff
He
back.
rolled out. I was standing out by the van that day, getting some gear out of the van, and he rolls out with a giant cart full of beer and said, "Do you have room for this?" I said, "I'll make room for that."
That reminds me
Wow.
when we were at Levante
Oh,
the second
yeah.
time.
Oh my gosh.
And
the
came
pallet
out,
of kegs?
It was a cart of kegs upon kegs.
It was a
upon
pallet.
kegs.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we had a pallet jack. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had to
he's
tap each individual
And he's like,
one
"Here's
as we
what
were
we're
gonna drink
drinking
it."
on the
He's
show.
These are the beers we're drinking on the show, and like tapped them right from the kegs right by the table.
They were way drunk before we were.
I heard
Oh
you
my
guys
God,
are thirsty.
yeah.
And there was like 5 of them on the show.
Yeah, that
a little
was
crazy.
that was fun. That was just over a year ago. I love those guys.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you've been doing this since April. You said after the baby. Still, how many more breweries do you estimate that you're going to shoot yet?
We'll have 4 planned for next week. And then probably what we said, like 5 to 10, possibly, probably closer to 5 after next week.
I think we're at 42 as of today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you name them all
Ooh.
in alphabetical order?
Yeah.
Maybe by the way that we did the trip.
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah.
It would take me a
probably
while,
would.
but I think we could get there.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested from a production standpoint. You guys have obviously gotten a lot of footage by now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Are you sort of like editing through it as you go, trying to find, like that story thread we talked about? Or are you just kind of banking it and then you're just going to, sit down for 3 months straight?
Yeah, we're not going to see you
in
forever.
an edit bay and just kind of figure it out.
As we've been going along, we've been trying to edit little pieces for each brewery. Okay. So
we're behind by about 30.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
We do have other work that we do here. So this kind of takes the back burner. The stuff that pays the bills gets done first. So we're sifting through it as we do those. We just put together a trailer that will be online here that people can check out. It's about a 4 to 5 minute trailer, and that gives you a little bit of feel of what we're doing. But the big thing here is we've done more than 42 interviews because we've done other people. So we're probably close to 50 interviews.
Well, plus if you're only counting the breweries, there's some places we did more than one interview at a brewery.
That's correct. Yeah. So, and each one of those runs about a half an hour in length. So you do the math. We have some footage to go through.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And then who wants to watch all of those? So we're going to do an hour and a half to 2 hour feature length film. But there's so much great stuff there that we're not sure what we're going to do with yet. But we do want to get it out there and do something with it eventually.
Yeah, and it actually, I imagine one of like the stressors on it is, like you mentioned, there's so much that changes in the brewing space so quickly. I mean, you don't want to sit on this for a year and have it feel stale. You want to turn it around in a reasonable amount of time so everything's still relevant.
What if New England IPAs go out of style?
I know, right?
Oh, please.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah,
please.
Right. That would be awesome.
So
you could make a movie just about that.
We actually could
let
definitely
me make that documentary.
We could do a parody, I think, about that. Based, as I do ask almost everybody.
The reactions are funny from those that talk about how much they love them to the we will never do.
That's a great featurette for the DVD. Just everybody's reactions.
I would buy the DVD just for that. Awesome. So, do you have like a timetable? Do you have a wish date for when you'd like to have this completed and out in the world?
Yes. We would like to release this in time for Harrisburg Beer Week 2018.
Damn!
Which is at the end of April.
That is, wow.
So your process straight through, and with the thought is that we'll be done shooting here in the next few months. I assume we'll shoot a couple more here after the baby, but that's going to give us a number of months to do editing, and we need it.
Yeah.
Is that normal to start shooting a documentary and have it released a year later? That seems like really fast.
We did Brood in 2 months.
Yeah. It depends on the scope of what you're covering.
We're a little crazy.
I mean,
too, And as I've said before, we're doing a lot of other projects on top of this.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful to this crew, and they've been just killing it and sticking with us and getting everything done and on time and keeping up with all our other projects and just really doing an awesome job.
So is there going to be some huge release party then during Harrisburg Beer Week?
We have some things in mind. I don't know if I can disclose them, but we're definitely looking at some sort of very large premiere with maybe some big names that sometimes sit on a stage together. So there's babies, and certainly we're going to be doing a large premiere. Yes. Yes. How did you guess that?
I was thinking Statler and Waldorf.
I think that our goal too is to do a large premiere in Harrisburg, obviously, and then in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and then we've been talking with breweries as we go to them. And today, when I harassed them all publicly at the Brewer Symposium, to host screenings all across the state, at little art house theaters, at their own brewery if they have the room, whatever. Right. So,
and then will the documentary be available DVD, digital download? What's the plan?
Yeah, the goal is to first get it out to theaters and breweries that want to do screenings, and then after that, digital downloads, probably even Amazon, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
Any opportunities for Q&A with you guys after showings?
Yeah, we're hoping to do another tour of the state, hopefully, if we can, where we would show up at these screenings and be able to do Q&A with as many as we are physically able to do.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to hook up with the pair that did Blood, Sweat, and Beers.
Yep.
And we actually did a phone interview with them prior to the documentary coming out. And then Wayne and I were fortunate enough to see one of the screenings in York that they attended and did the Q&A. So we actually got to meet them in person, which is really fun. There's just something really special about the people that created it, introducing it, and then getting to talk to them afterwards. So I can imagine that would be really attractive to a lot of people that would want to see the documentary.
It's fun for us too. Today we unveiled our trailer for the film at the Brewers of Pennsylvania Symposium, and Sarah and I are up front, and we're both watching the screen, and I'm like, dummy, turn around, look at the people that are watching it, and see what kind of reactions you're getting. And I turned around, and as soon as I looked around, the one person that was on screen had a big grin on her face at the same time. So I'm like,
and I was watching the Levity guys because the 3 that were there are the ones we did not interview, and we had talked with them like over lunch. They were making fun of their partner Luke, who was on the screen, and so as soon as he was up there, I kind of looked at them, and they're laughing, and it was great. It was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome! I can't wait. Yeah, we got to see the trailer, and it looks amazing.
It looks really good.
Absolutely.
It looks really good.
It makes me really excited, and I'm suddenly motivated to go and try to check all those other Pennsylvania
St.
breweries off the
Breweries,
list so I can have that title
That's
again.
super exciting.
Yeah,
That's cool.
for sure.
I'm curious. You touched on briefly sort of the other things you guys do here at GK Visual. Web stuff. You said a lot of political stuff. Have you ever produced a feature-length documentary of any sort before, or was like Brewed in the Berg and then this sort of
Brewed in the Berg was pretty much it, and I think we all loved that to a certain extent, and really like this work. And I think a lot of our commercial work falls in the same storytelling genre. So we get real people on camera telling their stories as opposed to actors or anything like that. So this is a good fit for us, and this is how we like to tell stories.
Was that ever anything you thought you wanted to do when you started GK, to do feature length, or were you originally thinking just smaller spots?
I mean, who doesn't go to film school without the thought of I want to make movies? So I guess that's always been there. But the reality is, trying to get paid to do that is a very difficult process, and to be honest, this has been a labor of love for us. We've gotten some money from Brewers of Pennsylvania, but we are trying to cobble together more funds, and it's
a passion project.
It's definitely a passion project.
Did I see in the notes you sent me that Brewed in the Berg has been viewed now 45,000 times?
Yeah,
that's
easily.
That's awesome.
And the funny thing about that is we've posted on Vimeo and our YouTube. Somebody bootlegged it somehow, posted it on YouTube, and they have the most views right now.
Does that mean you've made it when you've been bootlegged?
Yeah, right.
Well, I want to know why somebody's bootlegging something that's just available anyway.
You asked me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. They and the funny thing is with that is if you watch it, it plays through, and then it starts over halfway, so it looks like it's a 3-hour movie or something like that on YouTube.
Yeah.
And people complain to us, why they don't know what they're doing.
Do they? Is it at least to like the original resolution? It's not like some like real low quality.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty decent. Yeah,
And you also, it was aired on one of the public networks as well.
Yeah, the Pennsylvania Cable Network.
Funny enough, is how we watched it.
Oh, that's right.
That's right, yeah.
I think it was after recording
because we saw bits
or
and
after an
pieces
event or
at
something.
This is a Little Big Beer Fest. You guys had it playing.
Yes.
Oh,
we did.
yeah.
But we didn't get to go.
We
see
were
the whole
recording
thing.
a
'cause you were on
podcast, so we
stage,
did kind of jump in and like
So
catch
I don't know
a
if it was
little
after
bit,
an event or after we were
It was-
recording.
yeah, it was
you guys
late
were at my
at one
place
point.
and
Yeah,
we
we
watched
watched it,
it,
yeah.
drinking a lot of beers.
Yeah.
that
I've
was
heard
the
it
night.
makes you very thirsty.
It does.
And we would cheer every time someone was on the screen
that we knew.
Yeah.
we were kind of tipsy. By then.
That's the best way to watch.
That's the night we had that
true.
Dogfish Head anniversary.
Oh
beer.
my God.
That
Oh, that
tasted
thing.
like
Remember,
soy
we
sauce.
just said on the last podcast we don't like to bad talk people's beers. That
Dogfish
beer
makes
was bad,
amazing beers, but that
beer
beer
was
was
bad.
really bad.
though. We were actually. I took Joe to Mary's Six Pack to buy some PA beers before they headed back
Yeah.
to Virginia, and they had that beer on the shelf. And
Oh,
I said,
really?
"Joe, that's the beer we don't."
Oh my
I
God.
pointed it out to him. Yes. Anyway.
Did he buy it?
No.
Oh.
We specifically went there because he's trying to brew a spruce beer, so I wanted him to get the Yards
Oh,
spruce
yeah.
beer, the whichever
Oh,
founding
Tavern.
father,
Yeah.
tavern
Yeah.
porter, whatever. Anyway,
Cool. There's
Continuing.
one question I wanted to ask earlier. When you talked about the number of breweries constantly increasing and the everything changing so fast in the beer world, and the fact that you guys were interviewing people even outside of breweries, have you ever worried that it's going to get to be like too much, too unwieldy? Like where do you sort of carve out something that works that isn't? Yeah, I mean, because you could probably create a 5-hour long piece if you really wanted to.
Yeah,
you
we
know.
have so much great content. I mean, I think part of it is trying to track those themes and storylines
Yeah.
as we go through, and taking not physical but mental notes as we go through when people say things that strike us,
Right.
which sometimes then affects interview questions in the future. If something really brings up something that we hadn't before been talking about, maybe it's something we end up talking about more so. But as far as narrowing it down, I'm not an editor, so
Yeah.
I have lots of ideas, but I'm not an editor.
In our pre-production, we did sit down with a whiteboard and we wrote down the themes that we thought we wanted to try to cover, and we've been sticking pretty close to that. And like Sarah said, as we discover new things, and that will spark an idea, and we'll follow that path too. So, but a lot of this is, obviously we're familiar with the beer culture and what the community is like, but there's also the revitalization of small town Pennsylvania and America, here that we're trying to capture too. So not only in the cities, but we're trying to hit the small towns where, these new breweries are becoming I think Sarah said today, like the new barbershop or the new.
Dan was describing them as Dan Lambert was it replaces the smoky bar on the corner or that community space, and that is certainly one of the trends. I think we're seeing a different way that, and I think this is something we kind of talked about in the beginning, but is solidifying as we go. When we talk about, this market being more and more crowded, how do people choose to react to that? And there are really three different ways people go. There's either focus on production, you want to make more beer and distribute more beer and be on shelf space and tap space. And then there are people who want to, now that the law allows, have multiple locations.
Yeah.
And that's how they want to be. And then there are those who are like, nope, tap room, neighborhood bar. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to focus on. And I think that everybody seems to respect those different spaces too. Obviously some find one to be more their calling or what they find to be more important. And certainly I think, goals are different depending on where you are in this stage of business. But those little ones, almost everybody seems to agree. Even the big guys will say well, the future's good because that's what people are gravitating towards. We want to have this neighborhood bar. There's always going to be something, local to you. And that's still going to be your go-to place or become a go-to place when it opens.
Yeah, that's what we talked about a little bit not too long ago at Evergreen. We were talking about, how is it when we did once again one of our reports on how many breweries there are in the United States.
Yeah,
every time we do it, there's 2,000 more. And how is it that breweries keep popping up? And one of the things we talked about was how they're kind of making themselves destinations.
Yeah, it's an experience.
It's a place to go and hang out. It's not just just like production breweries. There's restaurants, there's brew pubs, there's that whole kind of thing.
And they also tend to give back to the community in one way or another, and so that's why people come. Not they want to hang out there, and then they want to come back and hang out there more because that brewery's now made an impact in their life in some way. Yeah, so they feel good about supporting it too.
And there's a network too. Every brewery's chummy with all the breweries around them who know people from other breweries, and it kind of goes from there and creates a.
Now we're seeing people graduate
web.
Sort of, and like I always talk about in this area for a long time as restaurants. Every chef worth their salt was at a Hershey at one point. And now we're seeing people leave Trogs and open their own breweries. There's 3 of them, 3 or 4 of them right now, which is and that's so cool. We didn't have that a few years ago.
Brewery incubators.
Yeah. In any other industry, it would be if you leave and open up a competitor, you're dead to me. But it's so embraced in the beer culture.
And then seeing breweries, how they go from I mentioned Lavery when we got here. The first time I interviewed them, they were just serving from taps out of the wall right in the brew space, and their pub, it was just a construction site that they let me tour, and to see how they've finished that facility and continue to grow and distribute. And it's neat to see those breweries grow and evolve and become what they want to be. It's equally as exciting.
And one of the things that's been really cool about doing the podcast, we talked about this before, was seeing people 3-4 years ago that were just starting out and watching them go on to grow and become bigger and bigger. And
it's cool to see the success story along the way.
And a cool thing, like you guys don't have obviously the time to track a brewery over 5 years from the beginning to end, but going to people that are just opening or not even open yet, and then turning around and also going to Yingling, you're getting both sides of that equation. Which is
I'm looking
cool.
forward to some of these that we are we're doing stuff with Wolf Brewing here that doesn't have even a location yet. When the film's done and we start touring around with the film, will we be showing it at Wolf's facility? I'm not sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so many of us in this area know him as a well-respected home brewer. And it's you cheer. I mean, I remember Francisco as a home brewer,
yep.
And now
Me too.
he is the mad chef. I mean, it's just neat to see these local people that you get to know as simply home brewers and see their dreams come true and see them be successful at that. And it's exciting.
There's a couple in Philly opening up Love City, and he was a brewer at Iron Hill. Same situation. They are they've done. It's almost the same story. Where all right, we're gonna try to do this, right? So they get together, they find investors. Then the next step is, where's the location? So they look at all the different buildings, and they, to their credit, they have a really great facility in the works. But when we shot there, it's dirt floors and
It was actually like rubble.
It
There was
looked like
a hole
war
in the
zone,
floor.
yeah. But the vision's there, and it's and they did a great job of telling us what that looks like, and I think we're hooked on seeing where that goes as well.
So I have a few more questions I want to ask, but do we want to maybe transition into a formal tasting
I think
segment and
we
then
should.
maybe grab a few more beers?
Yeah,
because
we
I
can do
see
that.
empty glasses
Yeah,
everywhere.
sure.
Definitely.
Let's do that.
Cool.
All right.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
So we have a beer in front of us.
That happened.
Yes, that definitely did happen. That beer exploded as we opened it, so that was a whole thing.
I was going to say it was quick and easy and nothing went wrong at all.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everything went according to plan, exactly as we wished. Now, is this is what I think it is, right? We've had this.
Wait, Wayne,
We had
what
it
are we
years
drinking?
ago.
We are drinking Leopardar. Leopardar.
We have a bottle of this sitting on the windowsill in the kitchen, don't we?
We do.
I mean, it's
An
empty.
bottle.
Enjoy
Oh, I was going to say.
Don't worry, no.
Holy
That's not
crap.
Long
Yeah,
empty. It is
yeah.
decoration at this point.
No, we like to drink skunks.
Totally. For those who may not remember, this is... What kind of beer is this? Myself included.
Saison.
It's a Sanson farmhouse ale, as the label says.
Yes, unfiltered farmhouse ale.
Yes.
The best part is, now that I look at the label, it's looking at me.
Unfiltered before hazy beers were super cool.
Yes, I love this beer.
Despite the fact that it exploded.
So do you
it
think
still
this
tastes great.
does it still taste the way it should taste?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get like a Smarties on the end.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that nice tart. It's not. There's nothing
There's-
off about it.
well, there's
but
bread.
Yeah.
The bread
but
would
it's
give-
what it should be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great beer.
Delicious. And they
Actually,
do lots of fun variants.
It does
with
say highly carbonated right on the bottle.
They're not kidding.
Carbonated. Definitely highly carbonated. It's much more tart and I don't say pungent because that sounds bad in the aroma than it is in the taste.
No, I think pungent is appropriate.
Yeah.
Like words that in any other conversation would be awful.
Sweaty
Horse
socks.
blanket,
Cat piss.
cat piss. Yeah. Oh, by the way, so there is a homebrew competition coming out, which I guess I can plug this on the show. November 11th, Saturday, November 11th, Stouts Brewing Company is doing their first ever homebrew competition on site. And rumors has it that Carol and Ed are going to compete head to head, which would be freaking killer.
Interesting.
But it's going to be, what's great is Stouts has included a lot of the local homebrew clubs, and many of us got together with Carol last week and we talked about the competition, so it's really exciting. And I just realized I don't remember where I was going with the story.
I could feel you forgetting your point
Yeah.
as you were talking.
I think Carol Stout has been one of our
I had
favorite
a
interviews
reason
so far,
for
too.
telling this
yeah,
story.
she was pretty prominent in the trailer. She was very, very.
I love her.
engaging.
She's amazing.
She was great.
Well,
Yeah.
you interviewed her early on in our career.
She gave you a lot of.
Yeah, but I didn't interview her for this.
Right, I know. It just happened to
I
coincide.
asked to talk to her
when you
when
still
I had
wanted
applied
to
to
become
the
like
Brewers
a,
Guild
yeah,
before
open
I
your own
went.
place, yeah.
When I thought, she told it to
When
me
you
straight.
decided to stay
she
in your
was.
secure career.
No, she's amazing. But anyway, if you're free November 11th, go to the homebrew competition during the day and then go to Brewforia at night. And it'll be an awesome day of drinking and hanging out with the Beer Busters or part of Beer Busters throughout
Yeah.
the day.
Is
all
that
day.
officially when Brewforia is? Do we ever
I
find
think
that out?
so.
It's more than likely going to be
More
that
than likely
day.
It's
that.
November
Look at
11th.
our Facebook page. Anyway, but what I wanted to ask is, we're drinking Leopard Hour, and which Lavery, of course, which our listeners should know by now. Erie. Talk about your trip to Erie.
Erie is great. Erie was part of a slow trek up that way. We started Indiana. No, we started in
State College and then hit Indiana and then
Indiana, Pennsylvania.
yes,
For
thank
those
you.
that not the
yes,
state
yes,
of Indiana.
we got lost on our way to Erie.
Overshot a little bit.
And from there, I'm trying to think of this geographically. I believe it was North Country, Sprague Farm, Voodoo. So in places, which is what you asked, it would be Slippery Rock, Venango, Meadville than Erie.
Nice.
And then we couldn't get back here. That was the trip that we...
Yes, that
Yeah,
was
we
when we
got-
were supposed to
stranded
record
on
originally.
80.
Good
It's
stuff.
all right. We were just making us
Didn't you say you were
anticipate
stuck
it.
in traffic for like 2 hours?
We
Just
were
in
Literally.
one
yes.
spot.
We moved very
Very
Oh,
slow.
little- okay.
Enough that I got the drone out of the van and put it up into the air to see how far traffic, and as far as the drone could see, we were backed up.
Wow.
But for most of 2 hours, we literally sat in one spot. I don't think I've ever been in traffic
Yeah.
like that before.
I just wish I could have seen the drone.
How do you pass the time?
By putting the
Drone.
drone up
Yeah.
in the air
Yeah.
and seeing what's going
Me
on.
thinking about trying to not panic I was like, okay, so
I'd be like,
pregnant
what if I
girl
have to
stuck in a
pee?
car. So I wasn't worried about that because there's woods, and I was like, I'm not afraid to pee in the woods. If I have to go to the bathroom that badly, I will walk over there and go.
nobody should judge you for it.
Nobody would. So that part wasn't bad. I was starting to get thirsty. That was the only thing that was making me a little panicky. Like I was out of water, and I would watch this one car in front of us. They had I don't know, they looked like they came from vacation. They had kids, and they had all these snacks. They had like a big box of Rice Krispie treats. I'm like, I really want one of those.
I will give you
And then
$100
they-
for a Capri Sun.
And they had like bottled waters, and I'm like, I'm like this close to wanting to like get out of the van and be like, can I go ask them for some water?
Yeah.
and a Rice Krispie treat.
Meanwhile, the two dumb guys in the car thinking, oh, we have a pregnant woman in the car. I hope there's not an emergency that we need to
Yeah.
get out of this traffic.
So then we went to McDonald's when we finally did.
Along with everybody else on
Oh,
Interstate
of
80.
course.
I'm sure.
So I imagine that was the worst traffic of this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excursion.
easily.
Definitely.
Yes. Enough to cancel a podcast.
No.
Do you want to try to open this one? Do you want me to have Wayne open it?
Hold on. I'm gonna start rolling video. Just in case.
Oh my God. The best part was you
never
did it into
know.
the mic for the sound clip. And then just exploded.
I've
Did the
only
mic
soaked
get
one
wet?
leg of my jeans. I might as well.
Well, I mean, that's why we have
The mic is dry.
things.
yeah, I was professional about
All
it.
right.
Oh, he got it like all on himself on the floor. Not the mic.
Yay.
That was my fun time.
So this next one is from Levity Brewing,
Levity.
which I will admit was one of the two in the trailer that I had never heard of.
Okay, well, this was on our same trip that Sarah just rattled off there in Indiana, Pennsylvania.
I know we said who it's from, but what is the beer itself?
It is called Underground Lullabies.
Underground level.
Some sour
It is
of some
a
kind.
5.6% American sour ale. It's a barrel-aged sour, slightly fruity, tart, barrel, funky, and totally balanced.
Funky
aged
and
in
totally
French
balanced.
oak for 1 year.
Ooh.
What's the ABV on that baby?
I believe
Five.
5.6.
Five
It's
something.
kind of cut
I
off,
can drink it.
but it looks like a 5.6.
So when we visited there, they were having a festival that weekend, and the bottle that we have here, they did not have any bottles labeled, so he printed out on a piece of computer paper here the label for us so we knew what we'd be having.
That's awesome. Ooh, I like it.
I love the aroma.
That's great.
Yeah.
And these
So-
are some fun guys. I don't know. You should put this on your list of places to visit. There's two great breweries in Indiana, Levity and Noble Stein, right around the corner from each other.
Does
But-
Noblestein make German beers?
I believe they do have some good German beers on tap.
With a name like that, they've
Yeah,
got to make
no.
German beers. Just saying.
They don't specialize in only German beers.
That's correct.
For people that aren't familiar with Pennsylvania, where is Indiana located in relation to something people might know better?
So they're like in the greater Pittsburgh area. Like
Perfect. I love that.
Pittsburgh's like
Yeah.
the closest large city hub for them. I think they consider them like when they look to go to festivals, they focus on Pittsburgh. But it's
They're
in
about
that-
2 hours west of State College.
Yeah, I feel like it's in the college zone, like where it's just
The
like
college
occasional universities and like not a lot of other stuff.
College Brewery.
So what else is going on there? Are they known for their sours? Or?
They are. Have they even been open a year yet? Or
No.
just about a year? And that's the same for Noble Stein that's around the corner. They both open up around the same time. These guys, though, you should follow their Facebook and Instagram. These guys love doing videos.
Doing
They
it right
love doing skits.
Yeah, they're total hams. They love the camera. It's awesome. They're
We need to go there.
no,
Yeah, definitely.
you honestly will love these guys. They were so much fun.
They just had a big festival. They call it the Knock and Howl Festival, where it centers around a giant Sasquatch, and everything is kind of Sasquatch themed.
Nice.
everything we tried there was awesome. They even make some craft sodas, which was exciting for
cool.
me. Unfortunately, due to our schedule, we were there we were in Indiana period on a Tuesday, and the brewery, neither brewery is open to the public on those days. So we sampled at them, but we weren't able to have any experience being there, having their food and that kind of thing. But it definitely seemed like a very cool, fun place to hang out. You know the history of the building a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say when we were talking about revitalizing places, this is a great example of that. I had shot some stuff there years ago for State Representative Dave Reed. We did a commercial there. It was a window factory. So we toured the window factory. We got shots of workers there. The place was filled. Well, since then, the factory has gone under and the building has sat. And now Levity has come in, revitalized a building that, had nothing going on in it and was probably starting to see decay. And they've come in and fixed us up, and people are here again. There are jobs again in this area, right around the corner, Noblestein, the same kind of thing. Took an older, I forget what he kept calling that building, a shell building. I forget what he kept saying.
Oh, it's called a
It's called a shit.
It's called a shit. It's a pole. Is it a pole building?
Pole building? I think you're right. Yep.
Where it's just a frame and aluminum.
Nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you
And
mean.
I'll tell you what, from the outside, it wasn't much to look at, but when you got inside, I mean, these guys really have put a lot of work into this place and the design, and there are speakers hanging from the ceiling that are built into kegs.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's just a really cool atmosphere.
And both places are very different. They're like a mile from each other, if that. I don't know. They're very, very... Maybe, no, I think it's a half a mile, actually. They're that close. Very different vibes. Really, what's nice about it is the two different breweries, I think, provide a something for everybody probably in the town. I think that Noblestein has a little bit more of a everyman's bar kind of place. Like, there's no real pretension, and while I wouldn't use that word to describe Levity, it's a little hipper. It's got the more of that repurposed wood.
Would you say one's a little bit country and the other's a little bit rock and roll?
Maybe. Sure. Yes. Go right ahead.
No,
you say that.
I hope they listen to it and the two of them can figure out which one is which.
That's cool. It's great to see breweries open up, though, in old historic buildings, especially ones that haven't been used for a long time. They've just kind of been sitting there, like it's and they have like beautiful architecture, but nobody's doing anything with it. And it's just a great thing. You see a lot of breweries doing stuff like that. It's pretty awesome.
They don't have a whole lot of room outside, but the room that they do have, it's a parking lot, and the pictures I've seen from the festivals, they just use every inch that they have there and really blow it out. And it looks like a lot of fun.
I also want to mention I never thought of the existence of a window factory, but they have to be made somewhere, I guess. I mean, it has to
if
exist.
there's, how does the song go? Is in a button factory? My name is Joe. and
Oh,
my
yeah.
wife and three
Oh,
kids.
yeah.
For some reason,
yeah.
when he said window factory, that's the first thing that started running through my head. I don't know why.
So Steph has poured
You can
us,
say that it was an open and shut.
you
I've
could
had,
say-
I've had
you-
a couple beers.
You could say that. Steph has poured us another beer.
Yes, I have. What are we drinking? I'll throw it back to Nate this time.
All right. I seem to be the beer guru here, which I am not. The Boneshire, we spent the day there.
Wait, you're doing a terrible job. This is Boneshire's Long Tongue Liar. It's a 9.6%. Triple, you said
It's
it
a
is?
triple, yes.
Now you can tell your
All
story.
right.
Wait, this is 9.6% and you poured that much for me?
You're not driving.
Thanks.
You're not pregnant and you're not driving, so drink up.
So the Long Tongue Liar. We were there this week. We are brewing a beer with them. They are very gracious and have decided to brew a beer with us, and all the proceeds will go towards funding this film.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
really cool.
Alan and Alex spent the day with us and worked with us and sat down with Sarah and kind of I don't know if are we telling what the style of the beer is yet? Or?
It could be an exclusive.
Oh, we
Hit
like
the button. Hit the
exclusives.
button.
Exclusive on Beer Busters.
We'll be brewing a saison with apricot.
That sounds amazing.
I don't think we finalized the name, however, so we cannot release that. And I don't think we have any idea when this beer will be ready. it could take time.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen.
Wait for
gonna
it.
going to
Yeah.
happen. Yeah,
Sounds pretty
You can
awesome.
Get it at Bone Shire.
We will share if there's going to be event or release or whatever.
There
We'll
will
share
be.
it on
Yeah,
our
we
page.
will.
There,
So,
oh, believe me, there
Look
will
for
be.
it, people,
We'll do a big party.
because that's how you roll. Speaking, and I didn't mention this. You are wearing a Poured in PA sweatshirt, which is really cool.
Thanks.
The swag for the film has been pretty awesome, and a lot of local brewers, especially, are sporting it all over the place. If someone wants to get swag, where can they get it?
They can email Nate.
Yeah, if they want to send a message on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or email, we are just info@gkvisual.com. That's an easy one. Any way you get in touch with us, we can hook you up and get you information on how to buy a T-shirt or a glass, or we're going to have posters eventually.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, the sweatshirts, though, this is crew only.
Nice,
Damn.
love it.
Exclusive.
It is pretty awesome.
But we
I
do
love
have
it.
tanks, so we have a really nice women's T-shirt, and we have a unisex tee. So there are options.
Very cool.
I'm actually intrigued about the posters.
Yeah,
I've become kind of a nerd for posters lately. Like
I have too.
Yeah.
Concert posters have
Lately.
been my
Yes.
thing.
Bring the artist
well,
right
within
over
the past
here.
few years. Within the
I
past
would say
few
you've
years.
got boxes of posters in the
Well,
basement.
yeah, so I used to work at a movie theater, and I would just take posters that we didn't use. I was like, maybe I'll hang one or two up, and I'll sell the rest, and now I still have all of them. But concert posters are really what
Yes.
got me into it. I have a bunch of posters framed all over the house.
Yeah, and that's been my new thing too. And if I can get it signed by the artist,
Oh,
even better.
yeah, of
you
course.
know,
I collect. You'll see in my office. I have all of the Trogs ones or the Harrisburg Beer Week ones that
Cool.
they've
Oh,
done.
yeah. That's awesome.
so the artist is actually here in the house. He is drinking. I'm not sure what he's drinking right now, but
I think he's
Something
drinking one of the
pretentious.
white bottles.
Rich
White
Houck.
label.
Rich Houck was the designer of the poster.
And now
He
perks
heard his
up.
name.
That's all it takes.
All right.
But the poster features cool illustrations of different elements across the state and filming, and I think our van even makes an appearance on the poster.
Nice. Now, and you talked about the artist, but talk about the music as well. You got some.
Yeah, so we have a local artist friend, a musician, Mitch Hood, who will be doing all original music for this film. Kind of cool. The whole thing will be scored by him. We'll work with him, and every piece of that will be original. So check that out, too.
You could download it on iTunes, maybe.
Yeah, we should
Just
release
saying.
an album.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Do they do
Pennsylvania album.
soundtracks for documentaries?
yeah, sure. Why
Yeah.
not?
Why not?
Yeah.
All right. I'm not opening this one.
Yeah,
After
this
the
is a
the luck of tonight,
yeah,
I'm
now
going
that
to
we're
defer to
moving on
you.
here. So I'm opening. I'll just say it right away without a story.
Good job. You're learning.
This is 0 Days Grievance from 2015. It's been in the bottle this whole time, and we will check out what this is like.
I did open. I brought for flavor. The Harrisburg Beer Week team had a cart, and we did some beer that we brought this year. And okay, good.
Nice.
Beautiful.
We grabbed some stuff from our personal collections, and I grabbed a grievance I had, and we were right next to 0 Day. And I poured some of this, and I was like, "Yo, Theo, you got to taste this right now. It is like perfect."
Cool thing about their bottles too is they have local artists do all the designs for
Yeah.
the labels. And I don't know if you've seen the Grievance bottle, but it's really cool.
It is cool, and it sort of it carries the theme of their Crowler logo with the O and that sort of like paint stroke. I didn't realize that was the Harrisburg skyline the first time I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really awesome, and it sort of like mirrors that style. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I believe the Crowler designer did this bottle.
Yeah.
Ryan Spar.
Ryan Spar does all this cool artwork with magic markers. The other nice thing is that when they release these bottles, the artist will come in and sign the bottles. And I think this
And Rich
one
did that too.
Yeah, this is
He did the tequila
a signed
one.
bottle as well.
I think this would be the perfect beer to drink while playing a game.
Yeah. What's the ABV on this one? Did we say?
8.5. That's actually for a bourbon
actually not
barrel
so
aged
bad.
beer.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. It's quite mellow.
That triple was 9.6 and it tasted like it was 5.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
way too
Well,
easy
it was,
to drink.
It was sweet. You could tell. Like there was
No,
that sort
I don't
of
know.
telltale. Like I'm not so sure.
I drank that way too fast.
No, I did drink it pretty fast as well. And now you're going to make me say words that I've written
Yes,
down
we are.
previously.
Well, you're welcome because I was thinking the more you drink of this, the harder it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
gonna
Well,
be
here
a
we go.
thing.
Wayne, what do
All
we
right,
got?
let's play a game. Pause for effect. Cheers, Internet, and welcome to Happy Fun Time Games. the podcast trivia segment that enjoyed a relatively short but wildly successful career as a child actor, spent several troubled post-adolescent years in and out of rehab and the tabloids, only to be revived as America's sweetheart after getting cleaned up and starring in a critically acclaimed and commercially lucrative comeback film franchise involving talking CG ferrets.
I think I need more of this beer.
CG ferrets.
Yes. We're playing Libation or Fabrication Goes Hollywood. This is movie themed because we're talking about a movie today. All right.
Look at that.
So this is the game in which I tell you the name of the beer and you have to tell me whether it's real or faked. But from Pulp Fusion Blood Orange IPA to Gourd of the Rings Pumpkin Ale, there is no shortage of beer names inspired by movies, and all the real beers and fake beers are inspired by movies in today's game. And if you can guess the movie, you get a bonus point. So there's bonus points.
Challenge accepted.
Oh, dear.
To be had. Some of them might be pretty simple. Some of them maybe not so much.
Don't say that.
Yeah, it all depends. It all depends. So we're going to begin, as mostly usual, to my left with Dan, and our first beer on the list is Get to the Hopper. Is that real or fake?
Ooh, I feel like I've seen it before. I'm going to go real. At what point do we guess the movie?
We're going to wait until everybody guesses the beer.
What if you... Okay, I'm going to say real.
Steph is also
I don't want to ask
real.
questions because I don't want to give things away.
All right, Nate, what do you think?
I'm going to go real on that one as well.
All right.
It's too easy.
And finally, Sarah.
Peer pressure, real.
Everybody's saying real. Does everybody know the movie?
I actually can't think of it right now.
Schwarzenegger, right?
It's going to drive me
Get
crazy.
to the chopper.
All right, you're close. It was Schwarzenegger. Anyone? First one to say it gets
Yeah,
the
I
bonus
was going to
point.
say Schwarzenegger. Sorry.
Well, no, but we gotta say the movie.
The Terminator. Is it
Terminator 2.
3, 2, 1. It's Predator.
Damn it, that was next.
Rich would have known if you want to walk
Another
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the
But
chopper.
everybody was right because it is a real beer.
Yes.
It's a 9% ABV fresh hopped double IPA from Pizza Port Brewing in
Hold
California.
on, freeze. Rich, get to the chopper. What movie? Yeah, but what movie? Oh, I thought he'd know instantly.
He doesn't know.
This is bad radio.
You lose.
You lose. We all said Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That was good tape. It's one hoppy motherfucker. Longtime listeners may also remember another Predator-inspired beer. Fellow beer busters, do you remember?
No.
No.
Why would you
probably not.
bother asking?
That beer was called Carl Weathers as Dylan in Predator Imperial Cascadian Dark Ale.
That's right.
From the Fort Collins Brewery.
And Sarah, you said our idea for the beer name was too long.
Oh, there's longer ones. All right, moving on. And Steph is going to guess first on this one. And this one is 8 Bosses Barley Wine.
I'll say real.
You'll say real. Nate, what do you think?
I'm going to be different and say it's fake.
All right, Nate is saying it's fake. Our first fake of the game. Sarah, what do you think?
8 bosses?
8 Bosses Barley Wine.
Real.
All right, saying it's real. And finally, Dan?
Fake.
All right, Dan saying it's fake. Movie, anyone?
I'm just Office Space. I'm so giddy. I love that movie. I love that
Dan
movie.
gets the bonus point for
Damn
Office
it.
Space.
Fun fact. When we were supposed to record before, we had just watched Office Space like 3 days before that.
And I also did this game back then.
I know.
So it's fake, isn't it?
And it's also fake.
Damn it. You had an
is
advantage
not.
there.
It's such
Real.
a good
I
movie.
believe you have my stapler.
8 Bosses, Bob. Will only make someone work just hard enough not to get
Rich
fired.
just texted, it's from Predator.
Did you get one memo?
Does he get a bonus point?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm going to have to ask you to... all right, moving on. Nate's going to guess first on this one, and this beer is called Fat, Drunk, and Stupid Imperial Stout. Is that real or fake?
I'm going real.
All right, Nate is saying that's real. Sarah, what do you think?
I agree, real.
Also saying real. Dan, what do you think?
It does kind of sound real. I'm going real.
All right, also saying real. And
Why
finally,
buck the
Steph.
trend? Real.
Everybody's saying real. Everyone is wrong.
Oh.
It's not
Somebody
real.
brew a beer, name it that.
Yes, there is a homebrew recipe available on the internet under that name, but
That's what I
we
was thinking of.
decided before in libation or fabrication, homebrews don't
Right.
count. Anyone know the movie?
I can't think of it. I know it, but I can't think of
Fat, Drunk, and Stupid. No?
it. No way to go through
No.
life. I don't know.
You've got the quote.
I know, I
You've
can't
got
think
the
of the-
quote.
I
You've
can't
got
think of
the
the movie.
quote. It's from Animal House. Fat, Drunk, and Stupid is no way to go through life, son. All right. Moving on to... No, Dan's the only one who's got a bonus point so far. And I know Dan is going to get this bonus point as well.
really now?
So he should be exempt.
You're not allowed to say anything.
We should get a chance
Wait,
first.
do I get to guess after, like...
You'll get
After
to
we all
guess.
screw it
All
up.
right,
So I'm
but I
not
want to see if
exempt.
anybody else
Okay,
knows.
all right.
There's a good chance somebody else will know as well, but I definitely know you will know.
Can I just get the bonus point anyway?
No, you already got a bonus point. Damn it.
Sarah's going to guess first on this one. And this is Dark Helmet Black Rye Lager. Is that real or fake?
Fake.
All right, say...
I guess real on all of the other
You
ones.
did. She's
So I'm
looking at the
like, I don't
score, she's
know
like,
what I should
everything
do
else is
here.
real. Dan, do you think it's real or fake?
I really, really hope it's real, and if so, I need to find it. So I'm
All
going
right,
real.
Dan is saying it's real. Steph,
Real.
Steph's saying real as well.
Because I always say real for all of them in this game.
do.
I always do.
Well, I had, and then I was like,
What was that name again?
Dark Helmet Black Rye Lager.
So not Lord Helmet.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to say real.
All right, Nate is saying that's real. Sarah was the only one who said fake, and she was the only one who was wrong. Because it was, in fact,
She was ready to sell
I
it.
get a
real.
prize for having the least amount of points.
Maybe.
Who makes it?
All right. It is real, but okay. Movie?
Spaceballs?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Can I
Dan-
get the point anyway?
Yeah, Dan,
All
I get the
right.
point because I knew you knew it too. Yes. So,
My phone a friend told me the answer, by the way. But I guess that'd be cheating.
Dan and Nate, yes, made the Schwartz beer with you.
Yep.
Dark Helmet is a German-style black lager, or Schwartz beer, from breweries that end in Brook, I can't say.
That's such a hard
It
word
took
to
me
say,
so
huh?
long to say Oak Brook properly. Westbrook Brewing in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. With 10% malted rye as well as chocolate and carafa malts that give this beer a dark color and a ludicrously smooth, roasty flavor. So we're going to add up the points, including bonus points.
Good luck with the math on mine.
Yeah, really. So we've got an interesting spread here. We've got every number from 5 to 1 except 3. At the top of the list is Dan.
Ooh, what?
With 5 points. You've got
That's no surprise.
Well, with the bonus points.
exactly.
still.
So you've managed to achieve, I think, what might be a Happy Fun Time Games first. You've gotten more points than there were questions in the
Ooh.
game because there were only 4 questions.
All right.
I don't often give bonus points.
We made history.
But when I do, it's exciting. Coming in second place, respectively, was Nate
Well
with
done,
4
sir.
points.
Thank you.
Third place, Steph, and at the bottom with 1, but not 0 points. 1
One.
was Sarah, all the way at the
It's all right.
bottom. Yes. This is, of course, ladies and gentlemen, the part of the podcast where we give a shout out to our most generous patrons on Patreon. People like Wolfgang Von Colt, Victoria Miles, Ron McDonald, Oak Brook Brewing Company, Marilyn Engelman, and it's McDonald.
Yes.
Josh Price, Joe Mansell, of course, Jen McDonald, and Eric Dixon.
Thanks,
Hey.
patrons.
Thank you,
You're
guys.
If
awesome.
you want to support us on Patreon and get cool behind-the-scenes perks and bonus content,
Podcant? That could work.
It could. Well, we talked about doing like special stuff for that. It's still in the
No, I mean the
works.
word.
I know, but it's because he stumbled over.
We do last call. That's
Well, I know,
behind the
but there have
scenes.
been other discussions of things.
we have a bonus podcast
Ooh,
that
there's
you can
more
only
stuff
get
coming?
if you're a patron on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/beerbusters. I am done talking for
He's
5
done
minutes.
talking for 5 minutes. That gives us enough time to settle our tabs.
Say, Yvonne, remember when I said I'd have to send away to NASA to calculate your bar tab?
Oh, yeah. We all had a good laugh, Mo.
The results came back today. You owe me $70 billion.
Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you in part by our friends over at Secret Hopper, an innovative new mystery shopper service for breweries. It's an idea that was created out of the love of 2 things, beer and the experience of sharing it. Breweries are attempting to differentiate themselves in an increasingly crowded market, and Secret Hopper can help you improve your customer experience. You can see their brewery from the other side of the bar by visiting secrethopper.com/beerbusters. Sign up to get secret hopped when you can find areas to improve, new areas of opportunity, monitor changes in your customer habits, and learn to grow from it. That's secrethopper.com/beerbusters to get started today.
This episode is brought to you by Loot Crate, a monthly subscription box service for epic geek gear and gamer items and pop culture gear for less than $20 a month. You get 6 to 8 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, and unique one-of-a-kind items, and so much more. You have until the 19th of every month at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive this month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, it happens. It's over. You missed it. By supporting Loot Crate, you are also showing your support for Beer Busters. You can sign up at trylootcrate.com/beerbusters and enter the code BRIDGE10 to save 10% on any new subscription. That is trylootcrate.com/beerbusters and enter the code BRIDGE10 to save 10% on your new subscription.
No, your beers. No, your beers.
So, Steph, if I saw the notes in the drive right, are we going corn on corn?
Corn on corn.
Corn on corn.
Yeah, I wrote this when we were supposed to record with them last time, and I don't know why I chose this topic, but here we go.
All right.
So in the January-February 2017 issue of BYO Magazine, there was a very interesting article on brewing with corn by John Sticka. So here you go, Joe Man. Listen to this and then brew a beer with corn. Everyone knows that macro-brewed lagers are often brewed using a substantial percentage of adjuncts such as corn in order to achieve an extreme degree of lightness and color, clarity, calories, and flavor. But homebrewers can use corn too. There are many approaches to using corn in a beer recipe and different forms of corn that you can add, including malted corn, cornmeal, corn grits, flaked maize, popped corn, corn sugar or dextrose, and even corn that has been chewed and spit into a pot.
I've heard of that before, but
No.
popcorn?
Chicha.
Yeah,
Yep.
Dogfish Head did a beer.
Oh,
The
that's
ginger beer.
right. That's right. I blocked it out of my mind because it's fucking disgusting.
Or something
Well,
in your
not the beer,
saliva.
the thing.
It's fine. In order for yeast to be able to ferment what ends up in wort, these ingredients must be in the form of sugars. To make corn fermentable, the starch it contains must first be gelatinized by being cooked in water between 158 to 167 degrees Fahrenheit for at least 30 minutes. After gelatinization is complete,
That is an awesome word. Can I just say?
Gelatinization.
I had to think about how to pronounce that word. The starch can then be converted to sugar by amylase enzymes in the mash.
You didn't think about that one hard enough.
Sorry. For most beer recipes, you will want to limit the amount of corn to 30% of the total fermentables. Too much corn can result in cider or solvent-like flavors in the finished beer, risk incomplete conversion in the mash, and dilute free amino nitrogen too low for adequate yeast nutrition. We've had a lot of beer already.
We have.
And I just realized I didn't eat dinner, so I think that's what's happening.
Oh, man.
Corn sugar is the easiest form of corn to add to your beer recipe. Whenever using powdered corn sugar or corn syrup, you can add it at any point in the brewing process, but most often it's added near the end of the boil. Simply turn off the heat, add it to your boiling wort, and add the corn sugar. Stir until it is completely dissolved to avoid any of it sticking and scorching to the bottom of the kettle. You can then resume heating the wort back to a boil and proceed as normal for the rest of your recipe. You are allowed to get up and go get more beer while I'm talking. It's
I
okay.
can do that.
Flaked maize is the next easiest form of corn that you can include. If you are an all-grain brewer, simply include the flaked maize in with the rest of your mash ingredients and proceed as usual. Most large commercial breweries use milled corn grits. Milled corn grits are corn that have the germ and bran removed. Then the starchy part is ground into a coarse meal. Specific details on how to perform a cereal mash can be found on BYO.com. Today's homebrewers can use corn as a unique ingredient to help make better beer just as you would use any other specialty malt or adjunct. Regardless of your brewing process, corn can be included in a variety of forms to work magic in many different styles of beer. To read the entire article on brewing with corn and for homebrew recipes like a classic American Pilsner or a Mexican Cerveza, check out BYO.com. And for a free issue of BYO Magazine, click on the red banner at beerbusterspodcast.com.
Yeah,
Definitely
click on all the ads. While you're
Every
there.
single one of
All the
them.
ads.
So I'm curious. A lot of time, corn. You imagine corn and other adjuncts being added to beer for the purposes of sort of. You almost feel like it's cutting it, like
Cheapening
adding
it.
water to your sauce.
Well,
or
for the
something.
longest time, it wasn't considered craft brewing if you did.
Right, and actually, yeah, that was an actual stipulation of the Brewers Association, and I'm
It
curious.
doesn't have to be that way.
Exactly, though. But do you think that, like brewing with corn can be done in a way that's actually like you're using it to enhance and to add a character to
No,
your
for
beer?
sure.
That's-
Absolutely.
'Cause
Absolutely.
We have had beers that have been made with corn or rice at breweries that
Yeah.
we've been to.
With rice, what always sticks out in my head is KCBC
Yeah.
up in Brooklyn. That was a great rice lager.
Yeah, and it's always interesting because it's really cool because you see you see craft breweries like producing, American lagers, and you
Right.
always think American lagers, they're boring, yellow fizzy beer, but it's something that can be done well and it's something that can be done interestingly.
Yeah, totally.
And same thing with using adjuncts like corn or rice. It's something that may have a bad name, but it can actually be cool.
Okay, we have more beer. Hit the
We do.
button.
Here we go.
Hey,
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
Round 2, fight.
I just realized we just drank this beer on the show like 2 episodes ago.
It doesn't matter. It's a Pilsner, and it's
freaking
amazing.
awesome.
Oh, my God.
I filled my glass.
I am more than happy
I
to
do
drink
love
more
this
of it.
Yeah,
beer.
we're passing a can around. Just got to me. It's Pilsner Prosim from St. Ben, and I have not had a bad beer from them. Everything is phenomenal.
We were really surprised by St. Ben, I think. When we walked in there, we had been on the road and seen how many breweries, and it was refreshing to see their little tasting room and what they've done with it in the neighborhood in Philly that they are. It was different from the others that we've been to.
We were there a couple of years ago. The first time they weren't even open with the tasting room yet. It was just the brew house, and that was it. And they were distributing a little bit. Yeah. But it's cool to see, like you had said earlier, Wayne. It's cool to see
it's one of
from the
those
beginning
stories,
and then become the success story. It's great to see what they have. And my birthday the past 2 years I've spent there.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's an awesome spot. Tim and the whole crew there. I mean, they're just amazing.
Oh, and I wanted to
they're
say too. Speaking of Tim Patton, I ran into him. So Garrett from Evil Genius and his wife Meredith from St. Ben, they had a Labor Day cookout, and Tim Patton was wearing his Poured in PA shirt.
Oh, great!
I really like how you used all of their last names every time you referenced them.
I'm impressed you remembered.
I know, right?
I'm good with names, surprisingly.
We want to
love
see
those.
photos of people in their important PA shirts, so post them.
I will
Tag
go
us.
back in time and take a picture of Tim.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
DeLorean I can
if
borrow.
I had one, I would take
Thank you for defying
lots
the laws
of
of physics.
selfies.
Oh, yeah.
Just
I think we can hook you up. I know a guy.
You know, guy.
sounds good.
We just have to email info@gkvisual.com.
I might need a picture
That's
of
proper.
myself with it sitting at the Don Draper desk.
That
might need to
That's a
happen.
good idea.
Yes.
That might need to
I was
happen.
going to say we got plenty of T-shirts too, although we are.
I just actually
we're running out because somebody's dragging their feet.
in my hold the fuck on in my
How many
mem.
beers did that take?
Wow.
It doesn't take any beers for me to swear at these two. Thank you.
This is what
In-
happens in the second half
Stop!
of the podcast.
On my Facebook timeline.
So anyway, what about no?
Facebook memories this week, it came up the picture of the three of us at Deer Creek with the shirts they gave us.
Oh,
That
shit,
is
that's
one of
right.
my favorite
That's a really
pictures
good-
of the
that's a good
three of us
picture.
ever. We're standing in front of the malting floor with our
Oh yeah.
Deer Creek malt shirts on. But the picture of me in the Poured in PA shirt at Don Draper's desk might be my new favorite. It hasn't even happened yet.
In concept, it sounds better.
I just need to write brewed with fruit puree.
Brewed with fruit puree.
Did we even talk about this? He's opening
We
the next
haven't.
one.
We haven't.
Okay, talk about this.
I really like Pilsner
Do we
Prosim.
even mention it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
it was mentioned.
All right, good.
Passingly.
So, you didn't ask me, but I'll pretend like you did. So, Sarah, has your palate changed at all since you've been pregnant? In fact, it has. In fact, I've always been, I love IPAs. I'm an IPA girl, more even like a single IPA than doubles. Like I like them nice and bitter and hoppy. And I've noticed as I'm limited, of course, in what I can taste, as we visit all of these breweries, and I really have developed a new appreciation for classic styles like Pilsners. So when we visited St. Ben, this is one of the ones that I was sure that I wanted us to take back with us. And I'm glad we're tasting it today, so I actually get to have it.
Nice. Do you think that comes from an actual change in like your preferences, or do you think it's just because you're
Because you're pregnant.
Well, I don't know.
because you're drinking
You can
more
say it.
of those sorts of things because they're sort of more pared down and generally lower ABV and something that you could.
Well, for one, I mean, I definitely do appreciate the lower ABV, but I think that because I'm not drinking, my palate is I'm able to taste more flavors in more standard simple styles. So I don't need that. I mean, I still like IPAs. Don't get me wrong. I got nervous for a while. I'm like, what if I don't like my favorite beer anymore?
yeah.
What if I don't like
oh,
hops?
that's a good point.
What if I don't like my favorite beer? But then I had a sip of Perpetual and everything was fine.
But there will be a new favorite beer, so it's okay.
Maybe that will still be it. But I think that I'm done chasing the IPA maybe as much, and I'm looking forward to appreciating some of these more nuanced flavors in different styles.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So
Yeah,
all we have
it's
to
been
do
fun.
is get
Make everyone pregnant.
all the craft beer drinkers just need to get pregnant.
Just
and
get
they'll-
pregnant.
They'll appreciate.
I hear
it.
beer helps.
Yeah, I was very lucky though that I don't have any aversions to anything. Like I've eaten the same as I always have. So I mean, it could have gone, I guess, terribly awry if I really ended up hating some things.
I have to ask you this question: has anybody given you crap for still continuing to, I won't say drink beer, sip beer as you are pregnant?
Anyone we've interviewed, or anybody
Anyone,
at all.
period.
So there was one guy. We're sitting at the 0-day outpost the day that it opened, and my husband got me a Positive Vibes, which, as you know, is like a 5.6% pale ale.
Really great. I had
It's
it one before we started
awesome.
recording. Yeah.
Which I don't think that I ever even finished, but I sipped it for a very long time. But I'm sitting there with the beer, and a friend says to me, "Can you do that?" And I was like, I'm doing it right now. And he's like, "Well, I know you can have wine." And I'm like, "Well, wine's much higher in ABV."
Yeah.
But I'm sipping this, I'm eating an entire pizza, and I have a lot of water. Like, I can
it's fine.
it's fine. Most people have been pleasantly surprised that I've not been that I'm still willing to taste beers and be a part of it. But I'm obviously, I care about the health of my child too. So I am limited in what I do. And I think we started to talk about this at the beginning. I don't remember if we had started yet, but like I often will either order a beer or even with the samples, I start it and then just pass it off to the rest of the crew. And the
been
guys
great
are
for the
more
rest of
than
the
happy
team. Yeah.
to drink my beer.
Finish this.
It's like you, the dump
That's
bucket.
it. Everybody does that to me. Yeah.
Dick Yingling made sure that he told us how back in the day when Prohibition was in place that Yingling survived partly because porter, I believe.
Yeah, they were allowed to produce porter for prescription only. And it was
Wow.
prescribed to pregnant women.
I did
Really?
not know
One
that.
porter a day.
So that's why Yingling is the most continuous.
Yeah.
'Cause they
brewing.
still-
I-
they were able to do that during Prohibition.
I always
Amazing.
thought it was because during Prohibition they started producing other things. Like
They
didn't
did, like,
do a
dairy,
root
that's
beer
really
and then they
the
did the
whole-
ice
Ice
cream.
Ice cream.
I did
yeah.
not know that.
They did a lot of near beer too, from what I understand.
Yeah.
I had no
That's
idea.
interesting.
Yeah.
Are any of these nuggets, do you think, going to make it in the final product of Port and PA?
I think that one will.
Because
That's a very
that right now is blowing my mind. I did not know that.
That's history right
Yeah,
there, and
that's awesome.
Where else in the world
Is
does
Carmen
that exist?
Sandiego.
Well, exactly, but
Thank you.
but we, I think as Pennsylvanians, we own Yingling being here and being the longest running craft brewery in the country.
That's like sorry.
She's like in tears.
That is like the top 10 funniest things you've ever said.
I'll take it.
So there's another beer on the table.
Is there?
Nate.
Oh man, Sarah's covering the label, but I think it says beer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Baby
really should've
Carry.
Sorry
It's
about
from
that.
2SP. It is a stout
Oh,
brewed with
my God.
Nebbiolo grape must.
Holy fuck, did you smell it?
No,
I haven't- I haven't. I don't have it
Holy
yet.
fuck. It smells incredible.
I like the label and the bottle. It's very classy.
It's also like minimalist in a way. It's just the name of the beer in very fancy writing.
If you're going to have a stout, it should be brewed by Bob. That's just
Yeah.
like how
that
it
is
should
true.
be.
Wayne, could you be so kind as
I just
to...
want to make sure that Sarah got her sip.
All right, but if you can...
Just sip.
I think it's only 6.5, so I'm okay.
Okay.
Do we have another
It
bottle
is
of this
6.5.
that's maybe hiding in my office?
She's hoping. If not, she's going to punch you in the face for opening it.
Ooh, it does have a very nice aroma.
Yeah,
I'm going to
it's
come
You're
back to this
absolutely
in early November.
Yeah.
This is good stuff. This I just want to sip on.
This was another brewery we went to and just loaded us up with bottles.
Ooh.
Bob is so amazing, and he has such a reputation and has built such
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he's an empire within himself.
And a very humble guy.
Oh,
Does
for
not like
sure.
to talk about it.
No, he doesn't at all. But I mean, just his Russian Imperial Stout recipe alone is just utterly epic. I don't know. He's one of those brewers that, and there's so many of them, but
Yeah.
I just respect and admire him so much. And 2SP is just amazing.
I forget where I was, but I went out to dinner somewhere, and then of course it turned into let's just have drinks because that's my life. But they had a citywide special. So anyone who's not familiar with a citywide special is in Philly. It's a can of beer and a shot of whiskey. Normally it's like PBR and the shittiest whiskey you can find, but they had 2SP Delco Lager as the beer for it. But whenever I'm out, I'll get it no matter when I see it. But that actually worked out really, really well.
Was it a good whiskey with it?
I think so. I don't remember for multiple reasons.
So where else did you record in the Philly area or film? I
Film,
guess
yes.
record is our
Yes.
verb. Where else did
Well,
you film in
technically, it's
Philly?
not even film anymore. It's
That's-
digital.
yeah.
So
You shot.
You can
Shot.
call it whatever
I'd
you
say
want.
early on, she would say, "Oh, we taped that," and I yelled at her for saying tape. It's
Right?
not tape.
I'm a child of the 80s. I'm
Let's
sorry.
go tape an episode. Let's make a mixtape.
Awesome Mix Volume 2.
So we started at 2SP, and then we went to Another place. And then
is pregnancy brain a real thing?
yes,
several other
it
places.
is.
I can name
I
all
tried
the
to,
ones
like-
down
Wait,
there. I
are
can't
you
tell
worried about that while you're like on film?
Yes, I've had some very embarrassing, like, lose my train of thought. Don't know what I was about to ask somebody. Although I feel like I've come back from that a little bit. I think I've gotten a little bit better. I wanted to pretend like pregnancy brain was not real and it wouldn't happen to me, and then you feel like an idiot, and then it's just better to blame something else. So yes, it's very real. I'm told it never goes away, or at least not for several years. So I'll just be the dumb one for a long time now. So we did. Oh gosh.
2SB, Love City.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what the second one was.
That day.
Well, you
That
did
day.
Yards, which we talked about already.
Right.
Yards.
Dock Street, Iron Hill. But I'm still missing that second one from Monday.
Yeah, but he doesn't remember either. So
I do. I just want to see if Sarah can come
you're,
on.
Testing her.
you're making her work for it. Which Iron Hill did you record at? Film at? Shoot at?
Ardmore.
Ardmore. One of the newer ones.
It is. And there's a success story, right? I mean, just constantly looking for new places to expand and open up breweries. We actually, one of the questions we asked them, do you get a bad rap for being a chain? And I think it was one of the best answers we've had of this tour. You know, maybe we are a chain, but we try to make each location a neighborhood destination.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can connect with the people that come there every time, and you know your bartenders. You know, it's not the chain feel when you go in.
Well, and when I did my internship for Iron Hill, and Larry Horowitz was still there when I was there, and I sat down and spoke with him. And when I spoke with him, the vision was to sort of do the 95 corridor, like do up to Boston and down, to DC, and they are constantly expanding. And it is kind of neat to think what used to be like a local chain could expand like that. It's exciting. I was trying to buy you time so you could think. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't know the pressure was still on. I gave up.
I stopped.
Come on,
thinking-
Nate. Just say
I have
it.
a
Just
cheat
say it.
sheet. I can tell you.
We did St. Benjamin too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
So where you mentioned Love City twice. Where are they going to open? Where are they going to be?
They are so. If you're familiar with Union Transfer in Philly,
Love it. I will be at a show there on Wednesday.
well, they are right around the corner. So in that neighborhood,
I saw Bright Eyes there.
Oh.
It's a good.
I bet that
It's
was
a
a great
great
show.
venue.
It was. It was really good.
It used to be a restaurant called Spaghetti Warehouse, and I went there when I was in college, and they had really good Alfredo. Just saying.
So in that neighborhood, you'll have the new Roy Pitts.
Which is an awesome location
right?
if you haven't been yet. It's amazing.
And then they are around the corner from Roy Pitts.
That's cool.
Yep.
The only one we were missing was Earth and Bread Brewery.
Or Earth Bread and Brewery.
Earth Bread and Brewery.
I guess I wrote it wrong, but yes, because we talked about how they prefer to short it to just Earth.
Earth.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
I've been there once when we were there.
Yeah, you were there with me.
think
I've
that
been
might
there
have
a
been
few
better
times.
for me.
I was only there once.
Yeah. Their pizza is freaking
It was
amazing.
really good. I
Freaking
forget what
amazing.
pizza I had, but
Oh
it
my
was,
God, it's amazing.
It was really good. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The beer is really good too, but the pizza's freaking
And that
amazing.
neighborhood now is booming too. There, I think there's an Iron Hill down the street from them, and
I think there was another brewery too.
another brewery right there too. And it's just within blocks.
Yeah. So we have one more beer.
We do, huh?
North
This
Country.
is North Country, your Zombie Red bourbon barrel aged.
So I have not
Oh,
been
man.
to North Country, but I have met these guys at a few fests and had some of their beers. What? Oh, did you see the ABV?
What is it?
Well, we end big. It's only 13.5.
That's why I'm glad I didn't even take a sip of it. I'll just skip that one for now.
Woot Stout level.
Ooh, sessionable. You mean?
Sessionable.
In a can.
North Country is definitely worth checking
They
out.
can. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, North Country was awesome. I think I had their beer for the first time. Actually, I remember where. I was in St. Mary's, Pennsylvania, and they had Buck Snort Stout on tap for $3. And the restaurant there was just sort of starting to get into craft beer. In fact, one of the beers they listed was the Mad Elf. Like, it never even said Trogs. It just said the Mad Elf.
I love it.
So I ordered this stout.
That's so Berks County. They insert the in front of it.
I tried their stout for $3 and I'm like, this is great. I'm like, they don't know what they're doing with pricing. Like, I can't believe they're selling this local beer for just $3. And then they're at Flavor every year. So I've tried a number of their different beers. But I had really no idea of everything that they have going on in Slippery Rock, and it's really, really cool. I think that was probably like it was on day one of that northwestern trip, and I think we could have spent all day, if not all week.
I
with
think we
Bob.
were late getting to our next stop because we wanted to stay there longer.
They have a farm. They work that then they use the spent grain there, and then the beef comes back. They use it in the restaurant there, and this is all stuff they do.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people work with partners, and that's equally cool. But they're growing blueberries and lavender and using these things in their restaurants and sometimes in their beer. And then the place itself started as a much smaller version of it, with like the family lived upstairs, and then they built that all out, and now they have a canning production center too, where they do Friday happy hours. You can bring your dog, and they have a couple. I've never seen a production facility where they have a tap or like a beer on tap to purchase there. Also, usually you just come in and do tours or whatever, but they have a really cool thing going on.
That's awesome.
In the middle of nowhere.
And the pub's really cool inside. It's all this carved wood and all these just
I think it's haunted. And
yeah, quirky things all around. Yeah, I think hobbits live there. I'm not sure.
Even that little patio that we walked through out back, it was too cold when we were there, but there's trees and a very
you feel like you're in a treehouse in parts of it.
Yeah, definitely.
There's boys.
This beer is incredible.
This is really good.
I can't believe it's in a can.
Yeah. I know, right?
I know.
This is not a canned
It's
beer.
awesome.
It's got like a nice caramel toffee. It's not super hot either.
It's really not.
I can't believe it's 13.5%.
It smells. There's something like you get that, not like booze, but you get that like sweet, dark flavor.
It's making me realize how much I need food right now.
Yeah.
They do a pumpkin beer that they barrel age too and put it in cans. And I'm not a big pumpkin beer fan.
I was just going to say that's a
But
bad
I'll tell
idea.
you
You
what.
went, woo.
Well, no, it's
I'll
because
tell you what, though,
It's the best thing
it
to do with
is
pumpkin
awesome.
beer.
It
and that's
is
the
a
thing.
great
Like,
beer.
I don't normally like pumpkin beers. There's a few exceptions of ones that I actually really enjoy. But if it were barrel aged, I mean, we all know I love barrel aged beer, so of
I'm
course
with
I'll give
you.
it a shot. But like that seems like it could add a really nice character to it.
It does, and it's not the you feel like you're drinking potpourri kind of a pumpkin beer. It's
Yeah.
No.
subtle bourbon barrel aged, delicious.
We had-
Pumpkin beer is even a thing anymore? I
Yeah.
kinda feel like
Unfortunately,
that's
yes.
like past though, but they're not like what they used to be.
No,
right?
it still is. They're
Really?
everywhere. Yeah, and they were
I
everywhere.
kinda feel
in
like it's
August
not
around.
I
like
mean,
what
it's
it used
no
to be.
New England IPA.
That's true, exactly. And you could drink that all year long.
Yay!
I love all of the shade for this. That's fantastic.
So if people want to follow your adventures and get updates, I guess the social medias would be the best. Are you poured in PA on all of the socials?
All of the socials, yes. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And our website also is portandpa.com.
And if you would like to learn more about GK Visual, they're GK Visual on all the socials. And of course, Sarah Bozich has all her shit going on too. Check out Harrisburg Beer Week if you've never been. Coming up again in April.
I don't know how you've missed
2018.
it for this long,
It's
but yeah,
so fun.
2018.
And I'm going to go on record saying,
Wow.
Oh, you're going
My
to record
turn.
saying,
And,
woo.
There's
I'm
been
going
a
on record
spill.
saying that hopefully we'll be at Little Big Beer Fest again on the stage because it's literally
It's our
my
stage.
favorite event ever.
Look at
Big
that
Beer
paper
Fest
towels for my last one.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't spill anything.
Did you label your last spill? That's the rule of the tablecloth. If you spill something, you got to label it.
Oh yeah, if it got
That's
on
why,
the
which is
tablecloth.
why Steph is reaching for a
Labeling
marker now.
It's probably good that I spilled that. I should not.
Well, then
It was
luckily I got
subconscious.
all of that on my jeans and not the
Okay.
Tablecloth.
All right,
remember
good.
what it's called.
Oh, we don't forget that Nate's been sitting here with like beer soaked into his
All
pants
over his-
My pants are wet.
for like the last hour. What a trooper!
Oh, my God. Well, all the links that you will need, of course, will be posted on beerbusterspodcast.com. Our social media, our socials at Beerbusters on Twitter and Instagram, facebook.com/beerbusterspodcast on Facebook.
At us, as the kids say.
At
us.
At us.
That's a thing.
Is that
And-
what the kids say?
That is what the kids say.
that's
Actually, though,
upsetting.
the thing to say is don't at me.
Don't at me.
Like if you say something controversial,
we need to end
like
this
don't at me,
conversation.
bro.
Come at me, bro. Yeah.
Mark your calendars, April 2018, Harrisburg Beer Week, and the premiere
Of course, of Poured in PA.
of Ford and PA.
I can't wait
for
for
it.
it.
I'm
I think it's gonna be
excited.
awesome.
I,
and I gotta say,
really
the
cool.
trailer got me really excited.
So
Yeah, definitely check out the trailer. It's,
When will it be available for everyone view?
The trailer?
Yeah.
The trailer should, by the time people are listening to it, it will
It's
be
up.
on our
All right, cool.
Facebook and
Okay,
and
go
out
watch
everywhere.
it now. It's pretty awesome.
So I have two final, one final kind of point and a question I want to throw at you guys before we wrap up.
Final thoughts with Dan.
Right, final thoughts with Dan Baker. So Wayne and I were shooting ideas around for videos a while ago, and I had said that I wanted to do a Pennsylvania brewery video like you guys are doing now. I'm glad to see that we didn't have anywhere
We're glad
near.
to see
No,
someone
it's
competent
nothing.
is doing it.
Hold on, it's nothing like what they're
No, and that's the
doing.
thing. I want to see. I'm glad to see somebody who has the time, the resources, and the professional know-how and equipment and everything to be able to do that, because it's something that I think will be fantastic for the beer industry as a whole, and of course for Pennsylvania, for all of us to be proud of our heritage.
You know what you should do after this? Do one for every state.
Perfect.
That would be cool.
Someone mentioned that yesterday.
If somebody gives me the money, I will do whatever they want.
I imagine
So
you would, yeah.
when you guys go to Hawaii, I want to go with. I'll be a PA.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Ooh, yeah, me too.
My final question is, what's next? And I know that's a loaded question, but you have Port and PA that'll come out in April of next year. Do you see any kind of expansion or any other version of this project down the road?
So we purposefully, and I think Sarah gets a lot of credit on this one, named it Port in Pennsylvania. There's no reference to beer there. There's no reference to brewing.
Okay.
Brewing?
Brewing.
You heard that. Brewing.
Brewing.
It's not even alcohol necessarily. I mean, it could be coffee.
Yeah.
Right. So we are, if we could do one on distilling is a big thing in Pennsylvania.
I could do a whole
here, so-
series, yeah.
So maybe.
That would be cool.
That's a cool idea. I like that.
That would be awesome.
Do you also want to mention plans for the footage that we have? Did we talk about that? I don't remember if
yeah,
we were
I
on or
think
not.
that's
when
good,
we
yeah.
talked about that.
Like I said before, that we have so much footage, hours and hours of footage, that we're trying to figure out what to do with it, because I don't want it to just disappear. Maybe we'll do a TV series. Maybe we'll do a web series from this. So if you have a lot of money and you'd like to help us out, we'd love to get this out to the public.
Pitch it to Netflix.
Yeah, this could be a great series. There's
yeah.
a lot of great stories to be told here that just aren't going to fit in 2 hours.
It's cool to see that you guys have bigger things in mind for this same idea, which now that that's brought up, poured in Pennsylvania, that's a brilliant way to look at that. I love it. I'm excited for what you guys have coming down the road, and I can't thank you enough for having us out here, for
thank you.
sharing the beers with us
thank you
and
very
sharing
much.
the tales, and it's cool to see everything happen.
And thanks for rescheduling.
Yeah,
of course,
thank you
yeah.
guys
Oh,
so
happy
much.
to.
Yeah.
Happy to.
We wouldn't do
absolutely.
it for many people, but you guys.
That's actually very true. Yeah. Seriously, guys, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
Best of luck with everything that you guys have going on. But unfortunately, this brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters. And it's been a blast. For anybody who is not familiar with the works of GK Visual, familiarize yourself with it and look forward. Well, go back and watch Brudenberg and then look forward to Porden, PA. And of course, Harrisburg Beer Week and all the goodies. It's a lot of great stuff. And that's why I said at the top of the show,
goodies.
this is the little city that could, because there's a lot of heart to it, and you guys are doing great things out here, and it's awesome to see. Well, I am Dan Baker, joined, as usual, by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and of course, the demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
Let's not forget, no squids were harmed in the making of this particular episode.
Although Steph without dinner may have been.
That's true. But we'll see you next time.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?